Hare Krishna. Better to admit I am wrong and become right than to claim I am right and stay wrong. So the Bhagavad Gita begins with a dramatic setting wherein Arjuna has an ethical and emotional crisis right at the start of the Gita, wherein he feels, how can I fight with my relatives? How can I kill my relatives? And he feels, what kingdom is worth it? And he decides, I will not fight. And if he puts aside his bow by the end of the first chapter, Visrujya Sasharam Chapam Shokasam Vigna Manasaha. And then when Krishna tries to perk him up, tries to give him some pepper-upper words of advice, but then he doesn't listen. So when Krishna speaks in 2.2 and 3, and Arjuna counters, how can I kill my guru? The spoils will be timed by blood. And he is giving in the first, towards the end of the first chapter as well as the second chapter, he gives a series of forceful arguments which are rhetorical questions, and he largely takes a stand that I cannot fight. But the point is, he also realizes that not fighting is not the solution. He needs guidance. And that's why what does he do? He actually admits publicly that he is confused. In 2.6 he states that I am confused. Nachaitad vidmah kataranno gariyo yadva jayem yativano jayeyu yaneva hatva najijivishamaste avastita pramukhe dhartarashtraha. So he says that I don't know whether I should fight or lose, or whether I should fight and win, which will involve killing my relatives, or whether I should lose, which will be like which will be denigrating, which will be humiliating, which will also mean that my loved ones will have to stay in poverty. So he just doesn't know what to do at that time, and therefore he decides that he needs to know. Rather than sticking to a position, he admits his confusion. And then in the next verse he says to Krishna that I surrender to you, I become your disciple, and I ask you, please tell me what I should do. Karpanya doshopahata svabhava prichhami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha yashreyasyan nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyaste ham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Karpanya dosha, I have become overcome by miserly weakness, and I need to know what I should be doing. So, Prichhami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha. Prichhami, I ask you with my consciousness deluded, what should I do? My chetaha, my consciousness is sammudha, please guide me. So, and then Arjuna answers Krishna's question. Krishna answers Arjuna's question rather. So, and then the whole Bhagavad Gita is spoken, and by the end of the hearing of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is illumined. And he says, Nashto moha smriti labdha tat prasadan maya achyuta sitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. So in 18.73 he says that actually now my illusion is dispelled. Now I know what I should be doing, and I will do it. I'll do your will. So significantly here, what Krishna is doing is, what Arjuna demonstrates for all of us. We may not face the situation of having to fight against our relatives, but the situation that we will face is a situation of being in a situation where we take up a position, we face confusion, and then we take a position which we understand is not correct, or which may feel is, we may take a posture where we think, yes, this is what I should be doing, but after some time we think, maybe this is not what I should be doing. So better to admit that I am wrong and be right than to claim that I am right and stay wrong. So Arjuna initially decides, I cannot fight, I will not fight. But then he realizes that this not fighting is not solving his problem. And it's a decision that he has done based on emotion. And rather than letting emotion overcome him, he has to use his reason and arrive at a proper decision. So therefore what he does is, he does not exactly admit to Krishna that I am wrong. What he says is, I don't know. And whereas earlier he had actually, if we say actions speak louder than words, we could have said that he, by putting aside his bow, has said that the he said that actually I don't know. He has actually spoken through actions speak louder than words. So he has spoken through his actions that I will not fight. So he takes up that position, but then he realizes that this is not the solution. So he seeks a solution by proper illumination, by proper enlightenment. So when we also face situations, rather than sticking to a particular decision because of obstinacy or because of sentimentality, we can actually open ourselves to the guidance of Krishna through Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, and through Krishna as the super soul in our heart. We surrender to him. Krishna, please guide me, please help me. And when we turn to him, surrender to him, seek his help, then we become illumined, we become enlightened, and we move onwards towards liberation. So essentially what we need in our spiritual life is, or not just in spiritual life, actually in any aspect of life, if we realize that what we were speaking was not correct, we need humility by which we admit, okay, hey, what I spoke was not right. So we recant that position and then take a more sustainable position. And when we do this, when we take a more sustainable position like this, then we realize that actually there is so much more for us to learn and go through. By just sticking to a position adamantly, often we close ourselves to broader thinking and deeper learning. But when Arjuna opened himself to learning from Krishna, he got enlightened. And similarly, we too, when we open ourselves seeking prayerful guidance about what we should do, we will also learn and grow in our life. Thank you. Hare